Welcome back to another episode of the Girls Stop Playing podcast. It's your favorite homegirl, Coriel, here to encourage you to stop playing with your potential and start working for what you want in life and in love. You already know that I'm bringing you the information and the conversations to help you make the money and get the honey. You can have it all as long as you are willing to work. And on today's show, I get to introduce you to a working woman. Miss Brittany is in the building.
What's up?
So you don't know this, but this has been a long time coming because I have been following you for I don't even know how long. I think.
Wow.
When did you start your business?
One of them I started 12 years ago.
Saved in the
so
City?
That's Saved in the City. Yep. This
12
is year
years ago.
12. Yep.
That's what, 2011?
2011. Yep.
Okay, so I had the Single Wives Club way back when, and it was during that time that I found your organization because there wasn't, at that time, there was nothing for relationship
Absolutely.
readiness. And anytime you even Googled something religious came up because that was like the only resource. So
Yeah.
I have been like internet stalking all of the things for a decade, I guess,
wow,
at this
I
point.
had no idea.
And we finally met in
Yes.
real life. And we're here in the same city. Have you been in Atlanta?
I've been here 2 years.
You were
so
were you
I was
in
in
Nashville?
I was in Nashville. I'm from Nashville.
Okay.
Moved to Huntsville for school, A&M, and then 2 years ago during the pandemic, I moved here.
Hold on. So you mean to tell me that you're from the city of Cashville, Tennessee?
Absolutely.
And you did not carry your tail on over to Tennessee State University?
We didn't. I got slack from everybody in my family, but I grew up as a TSU Tiger, so that's all I knew. So I feel like I'm just
You needed something new.
Yeah, I just wanted to switch it up a little bit.
Well,
I didn't go too far.
As a proud alumni of the Tennessee State University, we definitely feel some type
I
of
love
way.
y'all, and I'm rocking with TSU as long as we don't play y'all, because we used to have
Yes,
that
the
one
classic,
classic.
yes.
But other than that, like I'm all day. That's all I knew growing up.
When did you finish school?
2008.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we were in college at the same time. We've probably
Because
been...
you were, my best friend knows you, Chastity. So I told her last night, I was like, I'm going to be on her show
That's
tomorrow.
it's
like
such a
we went to
small
school
world.
together.
Yes.
So me and her went to high
So
school
you didn't
together.
even want to go with your best friend. You like, girl,
I love y'all, but I got to switch it up. I got to do something different.
How did you enjoy your time at A&M?
I loved it. I would not be doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for, I feel like if I would not have left Nashville,
Yeah.
I would not have been
That's a
in
real
this
thing.
position. So
That's a real thing.
So I loved it. I wasn't too far from home. I got to come back home. But yeah, A&M did it for me. So it was
I
great.
have not talked to one HBCU grad that does not have that same feeling about their school. I think you could have picked any HBCU and
But
you
it's
still
so-
would have been like, girl,
Like,
it is nothing like XYZ University because they did it for me. And
Absolutely.
that is just, so I'm a huge advocate for HBCUs,
Yeah.
obviously, but that's why. It's not just because I'm all black everything, even though I am very much so all black everything, but that feeling.
Yes,
It's like
absolutely.
an indescribable
Absolutely.
feeling. But if you went to a HBCU, you know what what it means.
Absolutely.
Like, you
it has
know what
such a
is.
dear place in our hearts. Like, I saw this morning, one of my friends from college posted we were doing a reunion. I was like, girl, why I didn't know about this? Like, I
Yes.
just paid my dues and,
Yes.
just wanted to be supportive. But yeah, I love the love that HBCUs are getting now.
Right.
Because we know it hasn't always been that way. But I knew at a very early age I wanted to go to HBCU.
For sure.
And I did it. And I'm forever grateful
Grateful
for
for
that
it.
experience. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that it doesn't even matter what school you choose.
For sure.
And that's my philosophy, like, with my kids. I'm like, I'm not going, because my husband went to FAM, and you know how the FAM folks act.
You remember those classics in Atlanta? Like, we used to come down
Ma'am.
them classics from TSU and
FAMU,
FAMU.
yes.
I'm like, y'all, sit down somewhere.
That's why me and my husband can literally, like, we came to Atlanta around the same time, and we met in 2017, but we have so many things in common. Like, so many places that we've been
Love
at
that.
the same time,
And-
but we did not know each other. Like, I'm like, I wish we could just, like, tap in and think about all the times or figure out all the times we crossed paths.
I love
but
that.
didn't know.
At the
But
right time, though.
at
Y'all
the
came
right,
together.
At the right time,
That's
girl, in the
it.
club.
That's
girl,
it.
God worked
And
it
look
out.
what- and look
okay?
what he did.
Won't he do it? Won't he do it? So, which brings me to today's topic, because from the outside looking in,
Yeah.
Brittany is the church girl.
Yeah.
Is that how you see yourself, Brittany, the church girl?
No, I don't see myself that way.
Is that what people
but-
take you as?
Well, I think it depends on the context, right?
Okay.
Because I was just telling your producer, I was like, the church world is what it is. And then you got the world outside of that, which I think everybody outside of church, if you have anything to do with church, is going to label you with the church. Which is cool because I feel like that's a part of my purpose to help redefine what people think about church and Christianity and what it means to be a saved girl and all of that. So I accept that now, but early on I didn't want any association with church.
Really?
I didn't want any association.
Before you started saving
the city?
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm good, God. Like, they seem boring. I feel like I gotta dress a certain type of way. I feel like I gotta look a certain type of way. And I've always been different. So I didn't think I fit into like what I've always known church to be. But once I got saved and I realized he wasn't trying to change, people tried, but he wasn't trying to change any of those things about me, that he wanted me to be dope and be creative and like the things that I like, but to do it for him, I was like, oh, I gotta tell other women this.
Yeah.
And that's how I started, a part of how I started saving the city.
So what's the other part? When did you get saved?
Okay, so I got saved right before I started saving the city. So 6 months after backdrop, I was engaged.
Okay, girl, them engagements will make you.
Let me tell you something. Let me get in this mic, y'all. Let me get in this mic. So I was engaged, and I was living in the Bahamas. My fiance was Bahamian, and when I graduated from A&M, I moved there because we were getting ready to get married. So fast forward, we're preparing to get married. He was older than me, so he was ready to like settle down. I'm 20, 21 years old. Like, give me a little time. And so we kept pushing it off, and A&M called me. It's like, hey, we need you to come open up this wellness center. And I'm like, I'm busy. I got my plan of my life planned out. And they were so persistent. And because I loved my school, I said, I'm going to go back and help them, not knowing that was a setup. And that's when my whole life turned upside down and I got saved and really started to live for God.
No, ma'am. Take a couple steps
back.
She done skipped over.
I'm about to say, Coriel, just let me know.
Let me tell you where we want to start from, okay?
Yes.
Because she said I went to the Bahamas. I'm over there.
Let's go back there, y'all. I was living.
You were living
in the Bahamas.
Okay.
I was like a full-time. Like now they had a full-time girlfriends and stuff, but back then I was living the good life.
How did you meet this Bahamian man?
Ooh, child.
Girl, we want all the tea.
Okay, so this gets juicy. I hope this helps somebody. I was going from my freshman year to my sophomore year. I had come back from Huntsville to Nashville. My background is graphic design and marketing. So I told my mom, I was like, I want an internship. Like, I want to get with somebody this summer that knows design, that I can sit under and learn marketing and learn this stuff from. So she says, well, I went and got my nails done at this Black-owned nail shop here, and her marketing is amazing. So maybe I can ask them. And so I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking it's this big marketing firm I'm getting ready to go intern with. So she connects me with the guy who did, the marketing, and I get there, Music Row. You familiar with that? His little office on Music Row, and it was just him in the office. So I was like, hey. He's like, hey, you want to intern? I was like, absolutely. So girls start interning. We started messing around during the summertime. I ended up leaving to go back to school. When I get back to school, I realized all along he had been lying, and the girl he had been talking to, he was getting ready to marry, ended up getting married. And it was just a whole thing. So I ended up meeting him because I interned for his company. And from there, we started dating.
You got engaged to?
Yes.
Well, who did he marry? When did that part happen?
So he ends up getting married, but he didn't tell me. I go to the office and find the wedding invitation. So all along the whole summer, he's like, I'm talking to somebody, but it's nothing serious. Come to find out, the car he was driving, like everything was this woman's. And so I'm young, dumb, naive. I'm like, so you getting married? Oh, that's nothing.
It's we just having a little wedding.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, we just having a little wedding, and plus you're going back to school. So I was like, okay, cool. I stopped talking to him. Girl, come to find out, he comes down to Huntsville, like a year or so had passed. He comes down to Huntsville. I'm at dance practice, and he calls me, and he's like, hey, I'm here. And I'm like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Where here? He's like, I'm at your school. Come outside. And from there, he pretty much, and I wouldn't say, because everybody makes their decisions. Can't nobody force you to do anything. But I do think you can be preyed on. And I think in that season of my life, I was. And he's like, hey, this is what it is. You're going to be with me. And this, I was like, but what about your old lady? That's what my daddy called her. What about your old lady? And he told me a whole bunch of stuff of how like they wasn't together anymore and all of this all along that they were. So they ended up getting a divorce whenever, because we were off and on while I was in college. And once I came out of college, he was divorced. He was having some legal
legit divorce. He was
a legit divorce, and he was having some immigration legal stuff going on, which made him go back home. And then that's when our situations really slid in there. But it didn't start right. Like, you know,
the intention of how it begins and his intention is how it starts, is how it's going to end.
Absolutely. And so it wasn't, you know, now in hindsight, those are some things I would have never done. But being young and not really knowing my worth, not knowing, you know, and just wanting to be accepted, feeling like that was okay. And so for a long time, I had a lot of shame, you know, because that's considered adultery. And so a lot of years I didn't share that part of my story. I was just like,
you weren't the adulterer. I mean, you know, you were involuntarily
absolutely
put in that
but
position.
now I use it, you know, a part of my ministry, and I love that, because when we broke up, so I moved to Huntsville thinking that it was going to be a temporary situation, but when we got there, I just started feeling like this is not he and I wasn't what I was supposed to be in anymore. And I didn't understand that, because I done told this man, I'm marrying you. We're going to spend our life together. We have a business together. All of these things. But I started to feel a change of heart. And I felt so bad about it, because we had committed to what we were going to do. But finally, I was like, hey, I'm feeling something else. And it's so crazy, because he told me, hey, I met somebody else. He's like, but I told them about us, and he ended up marrying her.
Girl, shut up.
And, you know, he's living his life. And
he is going to get him a wife,
you know,
baby.
He got him a wife, and they still together. We cool now, you know, after all these years. It's 12, 13 years later. But I felt like, one, I had to learn that just because a man is in your life doesn't mean they're a man you're supposed to pursue something with. I believe his purpose was always what it was initially was, of being a colleague and being someone I could glean from and learn from. But because at that time, I thought every man that comes in your life is somebody you're supposed to sleep with or try to entertain. It got all misconstrued. But
so did you grow up in the church?
No, I did not.
Okay. So you did not grow up in the church. This sent you for a tailspin.
Yes.
Made you come on back to the Lord, or go to the Lord.
Go to the Lord.
Which is what I was saying when you mentioned being engaged, because some of the greatest successes for women have come from a broken engagement.
Let me tell you something.
Because it ain't much more that's going to send you up through there, send you back to the
Lord.
You know
what? And that's what happened. I was heartbroken. Like, I was devastated. And what I realized in that, depressed, you know, all the things during a breakup, right? And it was so crazy, because during that season, like, I started seeing other women that were going through similar things. And I'm like, you know, and then they're coming to me, and I'm like, I ain't got nothing to give you. I
just didn't
toe up, like, you know. And it was there where I was like, wait, there's a need here. There is a space that needs to be created. And I thought it was just for women to come together to talk and encourage each other. I did not see myself in ministry. I did not see myself, again, I don't come from that background. I wasn't interested in what I had known things to look like. It just wasn't fly enough for me. And so I didn't even know that this was what I was doing until I was doing it. And I think God knew, because I'm so different.
You weren't gonna get there on your own.
I wasn't. So he's like, I gotta kind of hook her in another way to get her in. And then I looked up, and I was doing ministry. But that wasn't my intent. I just wanted to create a space for women who were going through some of the same things I was going through.
Which is literally what the Single Wives Club was, from a broken engagement. So we're like basically the same person.
I did not know this!
Girl, that's how I know what an engagement will do to you. That was my launching pad for me starting the Single Wives Club, which literally was just women coming together to encourage people. You just took it a step further with Jesus.
Yeah, I put a little bit more Jesus
you
in there.
You put a little Jesus in there. But I still say, you know, what I do is very much so my ministry.
Absolutely.
I don't know no Bible verses, girl. Let me tell you about...
I got you.
Let me
That's why we connected.
That's why we
with the Bible verses.
You got me with the Bible verses, because let me tell you, the church girls be coming for me, okay? Maybe they gonna keep it cute, because I got the church girl on the couch. But let me tell you my hesitation with religion. I would say religion and church, because me and God, we real good, right?
Absolutely.
I just feel like I don't want to put all of y'all in the same box. I'm not gonna put you in a box. We're gonna take you out the box.
I appreciate that, because
but from what I've seen, it's so much judgment.
Absolutely.
It's so much judgment. It's so much like mean-spirited stuff. Specifically when I started the Single Wives Club, because it was not, and y'all, for those of y'all who don't know, the Single Wives Club was literally like a self-help group for single women who wanted to prepare to become wives, because there's nowhere for us to go to prepare.
For sure.
Still, to this day, nothing. But what I would get so often, because it wasn't religious-based, I would get so much judgment from religious people because they felt like, well, marriage is like this religious concept. So how you going to be doing anything
for sure
without Jesus?
For sure.
And again, y'all know I tell my business, don't judge me for this.
I'm not judging you.
I won't say I grew up in the church, but I grew up going to church.
For sure.
So I had some idea of church, the Bible, Jesus. And as I got older and as I matured and as I went through things, my understanding started to change.
For sure.
And even to this day, me and God are like this.
Yeah.
I don't know
his people, though?
I don't know if, not even his people. I have a hard time. I have a disconnect with Jesus.
Yeah. I get that.
Help me with that disconnect. Because
Absolutely.
for me, it's like, God, I get it. I got it. I know there's a higher power.
Yeah.
I have seen him work
for sure
in my life.
For sure.
I don't necessarily know if I buy into Jesus. Don't judge me for that.
I'm not. Oh,
let's talk
baby.
about it.
Well, I'm not. You ain't got to worry about me judging you. Okay, so let's unpack it. So let me deal first with the first part of what you said, and then we'll deal with the second part of what you said. So I too feel what you feel, and I may be classified as the church girl, but I too experience judgment. I too
experience. They be judging you too?
Oh yes, ma'am. Early on in my journey, I remember getting threats. I remember other people in the city telling me I had
threats by way of Jesus.
Threats of like first ladies and pastors and preachers and all of that. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Coriel. This was one of the reasons why I told God I was good. Like, it was a few reasons why. Like, I really struggled with my purpose. I know exactly what I'm called to do and how I'm called to do it, but I struggled with it because, one, I didn't want to be one of them. Right? I didn't want to be a hypocrite. And I'm not talking about a hypocrite from like, oh, you doing one thing and living one way, but just being mean. Like, just being, I didn't want to be associated with that. And so I struggled for a long time with what I felt like I was supposed to do because of what I had seen. And so I want you to know, you're not by yourself. I'm doing this. And now I have to manage it on a whole nother level than what I did before because of the style of what I've been called to do. And so, yeah, I've been discouraged this week looking at Christians online going back and forth, dogging one another. It is so disheartening. I'm like, God, you're gonna have to help me. But it also is my encouragement to show people it done a different way, to help people to know that yes, you may see some mean Christians, or yes, you may see some judgmental people, but everybody who names the name of Christ and Jesus is not that way. And so it's like motivating for me a lot of times, because I'm here to show people authentic. Like, you do not have to do X, Y, and Z and check every box. God is not looking for your behavior. He's looking for your heart. He works all that other stuff out as you keep to, like, all of the things that I don't think we share with people enough. And so I just want you to know, like, you're not by yourself.
Okay, girl, that made me feel better. Yeah, I can't believe they're doing you like that.
Yeah, and that's all good, right? Because it's expected. Like, you're not gonna be effective without opposition. You're not gonna be effective without people not agreeing with you. And I just feel like that comes with it. So that's the first part. Okay, the second part, I struggled with the Jesus thing too. I struggled with the God thing too. I'm a different type of church girl, if you, whatever you want to call it, because I'm not the type of person that just does stuff because other people do it. I've never been that way. Although I didn't grow up in church, from the age of like 1 to age 10, we were like in and out of church until my mom was like, "No, y'all ain't going no more," because it was too much drama in the church. So when I got of age, I had a lot of questions. And so I did a lot of research. I've studied Buddha, I've studied Muslim, I've studied a lot of different things because I wanted to make sure whatever I decided to align my life with, it resonated with me. And so I remember during that season where it was the breakup and I was at my lowest point, one of my lowest points, I was like, okay, I got to figure out what I'm going to do, because obviously my education, I did all the checks. I was a check mark girl. I did the education. Okay, I did the man thing. Okay, I got a successful career. I did all of these check marks, but there was still this void. There was still this longing, this fulfillment that I was looking for. And I said, okay, God, I've been doing all this research. So I'm going to try you. I'm just going to try you. I'm going to give you like a 3-month thing here. I'm going to do the things that I know to do. And if this doesn't work for me, I'm going to go try something else. Flat out. That's what I told God one night. And I just tried it. I tried to really do this thing for me and what that looked like. And I haven't looked back since.
What did that look like? What was your trying it?
For sure. So, like I said, I was doing my research, and everything I researched was a performance-based. This is my personal experience. I'm no here. I don't put anything of what I believe on anybody else. I just live in my truth. And so everything that I researched was performance-based. It was you do to earn. You got to be a good person. Everything else I researched, you had to be something to get something. But when I came into my relationship, because let me qualify this, there's God and then there's, as you said, Jesus. When I realized that I didn't have to try to be something to receive something from Christ. He was not looking for me to be perfect. He was not looking for me to get myself together first. He wasn't looking for any of that. He said, matter of fact, I receive you by grace. And grace was a really hard concept for me to understand because I come from performance-based. I come from you only get acknowledged when you do something good, when you are something good. And then I was introduced to this faith. It's like, so I ain't got to have it together. So all I got to do is believe? No, it got to be something else. Like, it has to be something else. He's like, no, Jesus actually died so that you could freely receive love and freely receive acceptance and freely receive joy. And for me, that's what set that apart from everything else that I personally have studied. I'm like, so it's free? I don't understand free. So I ain't got to do nothing but receive and believe in my heart. And so I began to take that journey within myself to see, does this work for me? And as I continue to grow, reading my Bible, getting to know God and Jesus for myself outside of the judgmental, mean-spirited girls and all the other things that we've known, it completely changed my life. And once I saw that, I was like, okay, I want to present this to women that it's not intimidating, that is full of love, that's full of genuineness, that's full of authenticity, that's full of creativity in a way to say, girl, did you know this? Because I didn't. And so for me, that's where I've come from in my journey with Christ and with Jesus. Like, I have my own personal relationship. And what's helped me set it apart is when I started to look at all the other things that's out there, for me, I'm like, yeah, this is something that sets this apart. Every other thing you have to do something to get. But with this, and even doing because I'm a historian too. So I didn't just take the Bible at face value. I started to do my research. And okay, where does Black people even fit in the Bible? Like, what does that even look like? I started to study for myself and take that spiritual journey. And girl, it's been the best thing ever. So yeah, so that's what's been me. And I don't know if that helps you, but that's what's helped me with some of my questions.
It's very helpful because I'm just genuinely shocked that this is the space that you're in and you still have to deal with the things. And I can't believe you first ladies is out there acting a fool like that.
Yeah, they some of them acts a fool.
That's surprising to me.
Oh yeah, it's a part of it. But I'm like, yeah, that's why God has called me here, because we ain't doing that over here.
So do you feel pressure from, not even necessarily from your people, but because you are the leader of this organization, do you feel pressure to be perfect?
I don't feel pressure anymore. When I first started,
you let that go. You laid that burden down.
Girl, let me tell you something. When I first started, I thought because I'm coming from my previous experience of you got to have it together. We're told that you can't make any mistakes. You're the leader, so you got to know everything. So I've had to, in the last 12 years, really walk that out. So now, no, I don't have that pressure. I am a very transparent leader. Especially over the last 2 years, I just moved, or in the process of moving, my headquarters from Huntsville, that's been there for 10 years, to Atlanta, a whole thing. I don't know nothing about anything here. So it's been very humbling. And it's been very like, Brittany, you're gifted, But God is at the hem of all of this at the end of the day. So you don't have to try to have it all together, because for 2.5 years, you couldn't even show up for this and it still was sustained.
Why?
Right, you know?
Because you weren't there?
So a few things happened. The pandemic happened. I moved. So I had had a whole team in Huntsville. I moved to Atlanta to help plant a church. During that time, we were so busy doing the work here, I couldn't be in both places.
Gotcha.
And so, yeah, like, I coming back now and stuff still. I'm like, girl, you weren't holding this together anyway. So you just do your little bit, and God takes a little and makes it the great thing that people see. And so I no longer feel that pressure, but initially I did feel a pressure to perform, to be perfect. But when I tell everybody the story. When I first started Saving the City, I was preaching purity. I was preaching, girl, wait until you get married and do all of this stuff.
Because you felt like you needed to?
5 months in, I get an STD. All the shame, all the condemnation, all that internal voice telling you, oh, who are you to kind of get up here, whatever. But when I started to understand God loved me through that, like, and that was going to be a part of my testimony. It was going to be even more that these women are going through real stuff. They're not looking for somebody that got it all together. They're looking for some people that's dealing with the stuff they're dealing with, but still courageously choosing to show up. And so that's what I tell the ladies that's a part of our ministry. Like, girl, the only difference between me and you is I share my business with y'all. I still keep getting up here and telling y'all the stuff that I'm going through, and I'm learning as you all are learning as well. That's the only difference between me and y'all. So yeah, it's been a journey of those ups and downs, those ins and outs, and me learning and grace and love and all of that, acceptance of myself as I've been walking out, what I feel like I've been purposed to do.
Have you noticed a difference in maybe the outcomes when you went from trying to present perfectly to, girl, I got me an STD, girl, baby, we trying to figure it out?
For sure. I think there's always been a level of genuineness to even when I was trying to like figure it out. I think people always connected to my genuineness. Like, okay, she ain't got it together, but she, So yeah, I do think there's another level of freedom in what we do now because I'm free. But I think so, and I think times have evolved as well. We're talking about 2010, right? And now it's 2023. So how we need to show up to connect with these women it's evolved. And so I think I've evolved as times have evolved and as I've healed and as I've grown. And so yeah, it just looks a little different now, but the mission is still the same.
How about dating?
Yes, girl, let's talk about
dating as a church girl. Are you offended when I say church girl?
No, I'm not offended.
Dating as a church girl, not just a church girl, but as the leader of this faith-based organization.
Yeah,
that seems like some pressure.
Yeah, so it's a little interesting.
It's got to be interesting. So do you date church guys, church boys?
So let me tell you my background first.
Okay.
Because again, I told you I just came into this thing. So growing up, I really like the thugs. I got a lot of stories I would tell to the ladies that come to like our Bible studies and stuff, but just all the types of men I've dealt with. I'm like, girl, are you okay? Like some of these, you almost died. Like one time I was on a date, the man tried to steal a car. Like, we done been on all extremes. So
that is an extreme.
So, so my preference, I think, has evolved as I've grown and as I've healed, but that hasn't been my preference because, again, I didn't choose this life. I feel like this life chose me. And so I'm not out here like, well, let me find a church man, but for me and where I am and what I carry, a man of God, he's going to have to be a man of God because of what I do. Like we have to be synced there. And I think if he doesn't have grace or a capacity for the level of which I do or an understanding, it's going to be hard for us to walk together because this is a whole nother world doing ministry and the demands it puts on you and all of those things. And so I'm going to have someone that is understanding, that's patient, and our faith and value system line up because this is such a big part of my life.
So I did want to ask you that because you mentioned he has to be a man of God. Does he have to be a man of Jesus?
Yes, he does have to.
Okay,
for
so
me
specifically,
yes,
because of what you do and he got to get with the program.
Yeah, he got to now. And I think a lot of faith-based women, though, the issue I've seen over the years is they're looking for someone that it looks just like how they do it. Everybody's faith is expressed differently. And so he may not, I tell the church girls all the time, he may not be fasting and praying all day long. Who gonna pay the bills, right? And so I think being open to the expressions of what faith looks like. Like, yeah, he gonna have to rock with them. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But how he expresses that doesn't have to look the same way of how I express my faith.
Now, what if he expresses it more than you? Like, would you be down for like a pastor? Could you be the first lady?
Me and the Lord done talked about that. That's what he wants, child. But it's gonna have to be fresh. It's gonna have to be dope. It can't be stale and it can't be dry.
I think it will be your version of it. So I'm sure that it will
as long as we can do that the way we've done everything else, I'm down with it. I've learned in my life that when I try to pick and when I try to do it, it don't really work out. So even if I'm hesitant at first, if I feel like this is how God is leading me, I'm like, I'm learning now. Let's roll with it because you really know what's best for me. So if that's what you want, then I'll roll with that. So yeah.
Do you lead with what you do? Like when you meet someone new, if he has no clue about Saved in the City, he don't know, like you've literally just met him and maybe this is your first date. At what point do you say, well, I'm really into the Lord?
It depends. So let me tell you my little secret. So if I'm not interested in somebody,
you say that's the first thing
That's the first thing I say.
Well, that'll get him.
I'll be like, yeah, I'm a pastor.
That'll get him. That'll do it.
And they're like, oh, okay, my bad. And so I've done it a few times. Lord, that sounds so bad, but I'm being honest. Like, I'm like, yeah, you probably don't want all this over here. But if it's someone else, like, I'm me, right? I'm just really authentically me. And that's a part of my life, but it's not all of my life. And so that's just like, do I tell everybody where I work? No, I do that, but like, I love having fun. I travel.
Do you
I'm
curse?
into fashion. I used to, but okay, let me say this. So I'm a very passionate communicator. And sometimes I feel that the only way you can fully express yourself is a good cuss word. But this is the issue. When I have to get up to minister, some of them words that came out, and I don't want to distract nobody. So I was like, practice not cussing in private. So when you get up there in somebody pulpit, you ain't cussing these people out.
That's a good point.
So that's why I blended with the cussing thing. But I'm real passionate in expressing myselp.
Do you drink alcohol?
So
can you say these things when people judge you?
Girl, this is baby.
Okay,
we helping the people. That's what we're here for.
Okay.
So alcohol has never been my thing.
Okay.
I used to
you don't not drink because
like I used to be in the club. I come home to Nashville, me and Chastity go out, and I'm getting me a drink. Like, it's just not my thing. Now, if I'm out with my friends and we're on vacays and that type of thing, I'm gonna give me a little margarita, do something, because I'm just out with my girls. But on a day-to-day, it's never really just been my thing, which is huge because I come from like strong on both sides of my family, like strong alcoholics and stuff like that. So they say I don't belong to the family because, so it's not a lot of things aren't my thing. It's not because it's like, oh, he ain't supposed to be doing this or doing that. It's just not what I naturally gravitate towards.
Got you.
So,
Got you. Well, that works out because I would have a hard transition.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like many times when people think about faith and they think about, I don't like saying religion because for me, it's about my relationship with God and Jesus. You think the first thing that comes to mind is what I have to change or what I have to give up. And I feel like that's the biggest misconception about this. You ain't got to give nothing up.
Really?
Like do the thing. Like I'm telling you, Coriel, do the things and just open up your heart to them.
Do the things, but then I gotta say, "Forgive me, Jesus." Every time I do it.
But see, it's progressive.
Okay.
For me, when I first started, I was still doing a lot of stuff. I was still out here sexing, bending it over, flipping it, dipping it. I was still doing a lot of stuff, right? But as I kept growing, some of those desires changed. It wasn't me trying to force it. It wasn't me trying to do it. It was just like, yeah, I don't want to do that no more.
Okay.
Or yeah, I ain't there no more. It came over time rather than me just trying to stop doing all this stuff because it's all bad. And you still want to do the stuff. Like, so I'm not saying just, okay, I'm saying no, it's about a relationship. It's about you taking one step, God takes it one step. You taking one step, God takes it one step. You taking one step. And some stuff, it's just over time. I've just been like, yeah, I ain't there no more. As I've healed the sexing and bending over and dropping it, I don't want to do that no more.
I was about to ask you because you said you started out preaching purity.
Yeah.
You were, but you weren't practicing at that time.
Yeah, girl, I was still I wasn't purposely just out here,
Right,
but
right,
you know,
right.
I would every once in a while, you know.
If it slips, it
Yeah.
slips. What about now, though?
Okay, so I'm in a whole different place now.
Okay.
So we can get into this. So let me say this. For a long time, I was trying to, as I was telling you, I was trying to do a lot of things because I felt like that was the right thing to do, right? Like, I just liked having sex. Like, I was like, okay, and I kept trying to love God harder. Like, if I love God harder, because according to my faith belief, we wait until we're married, which I understand those reasons why now, personally, in my personal conviction. So I kept trying to love God harder. I kept trying to do things so that I would be a good girl, and that didn't work. I kept feeling like I had the faith part of my journey, but there was still like a disconnect. And what I realized is my emotional health. So I was faithing it and doing the things and praying and fasting and doing all of those things, which are part of my journey. But at the same time, there were still parts of me that needed healing. And so when I realized that I needed healing too, that it wasn't just me putting scriptures on a thing and it wasn't just preaching and teaching, but girl, you had some stuff in your past that you had to work through. And I combined my emotional healing journey and my faith journey together. Then that's when I came to the decision of, so why I'm sleeping with people that ain't giving me nothing anyway? Why am I giving everything that I am and my value and my worth to someone that ain't gonna call me back? Like, that no longer made sense to me. So now my decision to wait until I'm married, it's not because, oh, well, you a church girl and you're supposed to wait till you're married. It's like, I value myself. I see my worth, and I want to wait until someone else sees that much value in me to commit to me before I give them the best of me. And so, but that came from the faith and the healing together.
How do men respond to that? This journey that you're on?
I haven't had a lot of issues.
Really? Are these church men though?
You know, it's a combination.
Are they virgins? Do you
No,
date virgins?
I don't. Most church men are, well,
Go on and
girl.
say it. I know they ain't. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I really haven't. First of all, I don't date a whole lot, honestly. My life is so, I do a lot of things, and my emotional capacity has to be in a certain place for me to show up the way I show up in all of the areas that I show up in. And so I don't leave a lot of space for like a whole lot of foolery. Like if you ain't coming like early on, like if I can tell, and I know myself so well, I know where I am because I've done the work. Mm-hmm. Like I've really been doing the work this last decade or so. So a lot of things I can know right offhand, like, yeah, that's not it. Like, you know, some of my friends had set something up for me and, you know, we were all out on like a little casual thing. And I was like, thank y'all so much, but it's not it, you know? So a lot of those things that I hear, like my friend, like I don't have those experiences because I don't do a whole lot of like casual like dating. So
how are you going to meet your husband, Brittany?
Girl, I think I already done met him, but
next topic. Who is this man? Where did you meet
I think I already done met him, but it ain't the time. It ain't the right time yet.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Okay,
you know, we'll see. But
he's out there.
You know, Corey, I'm gonna be honest with you. Being a single woman that is a high capacity, high performing woman, it has been, this part of my life has been such a struggle. And I think we need to talk like more honestly about that. I'm 36 now, and I have just gotten to the place where I feel like, you know what, I think I may be ready. I thought I was ready in my 20s. I thought I was ready in my 30s because honestly, I was gauging my readiness based off of how I showed up in my work. I was successful in all these areas, so I thought, oh, that means I'm ready, but I wasn't. There were a lot of insecurities I had to work through. There was a lot of childhood traumas I have to work through, even learning how to communicate. Like, just the simplest things that I did not know how to do, that now I'm like, okay, girl, you've been putting in the work, you can do it. And now I feel like I'm in a place in my life finally where it's like, you know what? You know yourself. You've accomplished a lot on your own. And now I think I'm like, okay, yeah, we can do it. But up until this point, I thought I was ready, but I really wasn't. And I don't think we're honest a lot of times as women about that because we operate in our strengths so much.
We focus on what we want versus what we're ready for.
Absolutely. And I hear a lot of women that are, you know, like, especially in the church, like, well, I've been doing this and I don't know where am I. It's like, have you really been like maximizing. I really have learned to maximize my singleness. And I honestly now see my singleness as a gift. I didn't see it like that before, but now I appreciate the freedom I have. I appreciate the flexibility. I appreciate a lot of the things I know that once that season change, it's going to look a lot different. And I'm maximizing that time,
baby,
and enjoying it now. I finally gotten to the place where I'm enjoying where I am and, you know, everything so yeah, we'll see. I'm open now. I haven't always been open. I'm excited. I'm expected. I'm like, because I know who I am now. And I'm like, okay, whatever you got for me, God, let's
Come
go.
on with it, God.
So that's where I am.
Do you think the black church keeps black women single?
I wouldn't say the black church. I would say some of the ways that people in the church think and operate.
Mm-hmm.
I just had this conversation with my pastor on the way here.
So what is it? What is the conversation that you're having? Because
Sure.
what I'm referencing is the idea that for a lot of black, obviously we're not talking about all black churches, we're not talking about all black women, but the majority of black women who devote their lives to the church, the pastor is their man, or Jesus is their man, and they don't save space or have the capacity for
absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I think there's this like. We have to be careful in this world to not over spiritualize stuff. So I think there's a combination of like over spiritualization and religion.
Okay.
Right. And so a lot of times I hear women talking and like it's not practical. So it's like, okay, if you're wanting to date, you got to go outside. Like God is not going to just bring him 9 times out of 10. Unless you want the man to deliver the groceries. 9 times out of 10, he's not coming to your prayer closet. Okay, ma'am? So once you finish praying, you get up, you put your lipstick on, and you get your hair done, and you look good, and you go out and you show them you can be a baddie that love the Lord. And so I think there's a practicality that's missing. And I think that doesn't just come from the church. I think it comes from just like slavery mentality, you know, of like, well, God gonna do it, you know, type of thing. And it's like, yeah, but faith without works is dead. So I think we have the spiritual part, which grounds us. Right? But then there's this practical part of positioning yourself so that you can be found. And that's not just relationships. That's business. That's opportunities. That's positioning. And we see that also in the Bible. So I think it's more so of that us not over spiritualizing things and having this religious mindset, but understanding that your faith is supposed to empower you to go out and do things and position yourself for the things that are for you. If that makes sense.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Very random question.
What's up?
How do y'all memorize all these Bible verses? Girl, because let me tell you why. Because when the people be coming for me in the comments, the Christians, when they be coming for me in the comments, because I do talk about God.
For sure.
Often.
Because you have a relationship with him.
But it's like you can't talk about God if you're not going to do it in this way, and I'm not going to do it in that way. I'm
Absolutely.
not gonna do it in that way. So when the people come for me, I be wanting so badly to like throw back a Bible verse, but I don't know none.
It's okay,
How do y'all memorize them? I need like 10.
I can't
staples.
tell you how everybody memorized them. I could just tell you how I memorized them. So a few things. One, I read my Bible every day.
Like, just like you flip a page and just read it, or
Coriel, the Bible is lit.
Girl, I need the ghetto Bible.
I got the ghetto Bible for you, baby. I could translate that thing for you. Anything you
that.
need. I read the Bible. I read my Bible because it's personal for me. I read my Bible every day because it's so good. That thing is, ooh, girl. We'll have a little Bible study one day.
Okay.
But it's so good. It's so good. Like today, I was hanging out with Moses. And Moses in Exodus 4, he was feeling real inadequate. And I can so relate to that because he had been called to do a big thing, leading these people out of Egypt. And he's like, God, I can't do this. Like, I don't feel like I'm capable of doing it. And I could relate to that because so many times in my own life, I felt like I've been called to something that's so much bigger than me. And I've had to face all of my inadequacies and my insecurities. So that spoke to me this morning. So for me, I read my word every day. Like, I am a very emotional person. I am a very sensitive person. My emotions used to have me all up and down. I would be in and out. One day I was in, one day I wasn't. And for me, it helps ground me. It helps center my heart, center my mind, center my focus, so I can get up and, despite of how I'm feeling, do what I need to do. So for me, that's one of the things that I do. And then I'm intentional about remembering certain things. When I'm having those moments and I want to pop off, when I'm having moments and, like my emotions are all over the place, I try to go back to those things. It tells me, okay, I feel alone right now, but my word tells me he'll never leave nor forsake me. All of this is real ghetto right now, but Jeremiah tells me that his plans for me are good. So it's just that thing of just reassurance of, okay, in spite of what it looks like, in spite of what it feels like, this is the truth about who I am and what God says about me and what I have in him. And so that's how I commit. And why, I think it's more so of the why than the what. Why I commit to making sure I got a little word in me. Because the world is a little ghetto.
The world is very ghetto.
Yes. But just not for us to use it to clap back at the folks. Because, baby, they really need, see, anybody who comes at you like that.
Reason. I do.
It's okay. But anybody who comes at you like that really doesn't have the love of God in their heart.
I'm gonna start saying that.
They really don't. They really, because that's not the character of him. And you misrepresenting him out here. And you got everybody thinking this is how he roll. And it ain't how he roll. So yeah.
That's my new comeback.
Yeah, that ain't you.
That'll get him, because that's how I be wanting to say it, but I don't say it.
I got you. You let me. I got you.
Please.
So yeah,
I'm gonna tag you like, girl.
Someone last night came for me on one of my posts, and I called my friend, and I was like, yeah, I responded, and she's like, Brittany, you don't even entertain. I was like, you right, girl. So I went back and deleted.
Girl, but I do that, but I ain't gonna delete it till you looked at it. I'm gonna give you a chance to see it.
I let it sit on there for a little bit, and then I would have deleted. I was like, you're right. She's like, yeah. She's like, they don't even deserve your response. Let them pay for your response,
girl.
And I was like, you're right,
girl. You be right, but I be wanting to let them know.
I said, people are nuts, and I'm gonna be honest with you, Coriel. I had such a fear of because for a long time I hid behind Saved in the City.
Yeah, I didn't
want nobody to know who I did that on purpose. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons why is because I'm a sensitive person, and I now embrace my sensitivity, and people are crazy. People are mean. People are so and I was like, I don't want to put myself out there because, and so for a long time I hid until God started dealing with me. He's like, Saving the City is cool, but people need to see and hear you. And I was just like Moses this morning. I told you in my devotion. I was like, I ain't about to put myself out there. I'm not about to do that, all of that. And I've been on a journey for the last 2 years of really embracing that place because I didn't want to deal with that part of it. But I realized I would be giving those people my power. I would be, and I'm not going to do that. I've realized that I'm not going to be for everybody. We're not called to be for everybody, but you are called to a group of people who need your voice, who need your platform. And so I lean into that now. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to show up for my people. I won't be for everybody, but I'm showing up for my people and putting that more of my focus than I am, the naysayers and the haters and all that stuff.
So when I think about a traditional marriage where, God, man, woman, children, the woman is submitting to the husband who submits to God.
Yeah.
You are a very high achieving woman,
for
right?
Sure.
You're doing all of the things. You're passionate about what you're doing.
Yeah.
If this husband says his desire is for his wife to primarily focus on the household, you don't need to do those things. I got us.
Yeah.
Would that be hard for you?
Okay, so let me back up. So when it comes to, as a single woman, when it comes to submission, I feel like I've been learning that through my relationship with God. And I've also been learning that because I'm put in some environments where I'm not the one in charge. So when it comes to Saving the City, I call the shots. When it comes to, because I also work for a church, I have to submit under a vision that sometimes I don't always agree with, but I had to get with the program. So I feel like it's my wife preparation, And so I'm great. I ain't like it at first, but I needed this season because I would have went into and messed something up because I'm so used to being the one to tell everybody what to do. So I'm grateful for the preparation that is happening. So all the single ladies out there, God is preparing you, and you may not even realize that where you are right now is your preparation for what God is sending into your life. So stop having an attitude and just submit to the season that you're in because it's working some stuff out of you for where you're going. So that's that. I honestly, Coriel, believe that who God has for me is going to also have a grace for the call on my life the way I have a grace for theirs. Now, that doesn't mean that every season of that's going to look different. I'm very clear right now of setting up my life so that I have margin. Honestly, how my life was set up, I was doing all the things, but I had no structure. I had no space to have a family and all of that. But now I'm in a season where I'm being very strategic with putting things in place, teams and delegating and SOPs and all of that, so that I have the freedom to be able to do whatever the extra things are. And so if we need to make some adjustments in a season, I'm open to that. But I believe that who God has for me is going to support all of who I am and all of what, and we'll be able to work together of what that looks like for us and our family.
I love that answer. That was always my answer too. I'm
Yeah.
like, that ain't my man.
Yeah, if he telling me I gotta lay all this down,
yeah, then that ain't.
Yeah, but
he's
we'll
not the
figure out
one.
how to make it work together.
Yes,
And so
yes.
so that's what I believe for me.
Okay, last question. Do you have non-church friends? Like,
Yes, absolutely. So let me give you some backdrop on me. Okay. I'm the chick that when we started doing our women's conferences, we were going to the clubs and the strip clubs. Like,
What do you mean?
To invite the ladies to come.
oh, got you. Okay.
I
thought that was the after party. I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, that was a real
that's
lit
we have
conference.
our own after party.
Gotcha.
But I have such a heart for people. I don't project what I believe on anybody. I just live it out loud. I don't tell anybody, come to my church, come to my this, come to my that. I want to live in such a way that people see such a difference about me and say, girl, what you doing? Let me get some of whatever you're doing. Oh, I can tell you, that's just how I live my life. I don't believe in a Bible. That's just for me. I don't believe in a Bible thumper. I don't think quoting scripture is going to change anybody. I believe when people see a consistent life, when they see character, when they see authenticity, when they see someone that's genuine, when they see someone that's being successful but ain't having to strive and cut corners and try to get over on people and all of that to get it done, I believe that that's the difference. And then people are drawn to that difference and say, okay, so what you doing? And then I could tell you, girl, I'm reading my Bible with Jesus and Moses in the morning time, And so that's how I feel. So yes, my videographer, he's not saved. He goes on every trip with us, every retreat with us. And we love him for who he is. And it's amazing because, he'll go places with me now. He's like, Brittany, I think I'm kind of opening up to this stuff now. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, if you rock with it, not if you do. If you got questions, let me know. But I don't force that on anybody. I just live it. I live it. I build it, and what we call to do, and I let God do the rest. He does the drawing, and so I have non-church friends. Half of my family. I'm the only one in my family that does this. So everybody like, Brittany.
That's why they say you don't belong. They over there drinking and you reading your Bible.
And I'm loving them,
Yes.
and I'm meeting them where they are. And, I'm asking them about, okay, so what type of pills you popping? Like, so I'm inquisitive. I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to meet you where you are and to love you. And if there's anything that I'm doing that's inspiring you, you can come get you some of it. And if not, I'm cool with it as well. So that's the approach I take.
So if I would have met you, I might not have had those thoughts about the church people.
Yeah.
You are a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And this was way juicier. I thought this was going to be a real buttoned up, Bible-based
I saw Shannon
conversation.
know what she was having on the show
didn't.
today.
I didn't know, but I am so glad
But I hope this
you
has been
came.
helpful.
It has been. So this was our first time meeting, but I saw you in real life before. Let me tell you where I saw her at. You be out in these streets really doing the work.
Where was I?
After Sarah Jakes
Yes.
at Fox Theater.
Absolutely.
You were outside like the street team.
Yeah, that's
passing
what we
out
do.
Flyers. Y'all
Absolutely.
were really out there. And I'm like, wow, that's so-and-so. Like, that's
Absolutely.
how, when I recognized you, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I be out there with my team.
You really out here.
Yeah,
saving the people in the streets.
Listen, I believe in that type of leadership. They'll never do something that I'm not willing to do with them. And I think that's what's helped build the culture, of what we're doing. And we ain't even started for real hitting the streets in Atlanta. So y'all may see us out somewhere.
Listen,
Y'all may see us after the club.
She is outside.
So come holler at me.
Saving the people. So listen, you got to look in that camera right there for the people who don't know what Saved in the City
For sure.
is. Let them know and how they can support.
What's up, y'all? Hope you have enjoyed our conversation today. Saved in the City is I call it my baby. Like, it is an organization that I started 12 years ago for women who were like me, who don't have it all together, but trying to figure out this faith life and figure out your purpose and what all that looks like, not only for you, but being in a community of other women who are on that journey as well. And so we do life group gatherings, we do conferences, we do events, we do prayer calls, but we're all about coming together, building our faith so that we can be everything that God has called us to be. So that's who we are.
That's who they are. You are on Instagram at Saved in the City.
At Saved in the City, at Brittany D. Morton. And just out here doing the work, girl.
If you want to learn some Bible verses and get in good with Jesus,
holla at us.
And be with the cool church girls.
That's
holla
right.
at Brittany.
Holla at us. Holla at us. We got you.
I have enjoyed you.
Great.
I appreciate this. We're gonna. Well, I was gonna say we're gonna hang out, but.
What you don't want? I'm too churchy for you.
You're not too churchy, but my hangouts. I have 2 very small children, so when I hang out, baby, I got to hang out. Okay, I got to make it work.
I can roll with you.
Okay,
I'll let you. I don't side eye. I'll let you know what I do and what I don't.
Do you do mimosas or nothing
I don't like
at all?
champagne. So
okay, I'm really
like you judging me. Now I feel like you judging me.
That was wrong. You're right.
I did this whole episode.
You're right.
But I don't like champagne. Okay. So, but yeah, I love a good brunch though.
Okay.
Period.
And I'll have the unlimited, and you have the brunch
for sure. Okay. And we're gonna do. We're gonna
do it. And you'll teach me some Bible verses.
Absolutely.
Okay, y'all. I'm coming back with some Bible verses. Okay.
I got it, y'all.
I hope that y'all have enjoyed this conversation as much as I have. Please make sure you stay connected with Brittany on all social networks. We'll make sure all of her information is linked down below. If you learned something, let us know in the comments. If you like this episode, make sure you like the video and be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on any bomb guests that I'm bringing to the studio. I love y'all, and I'll see you on the next episode.